Hola, hola. My name is Ramon, cosmetic chemist, esthetician, lover of a sunscreen moment. We're here for part 2 of my favorite sunscreens of 2023. I talked about my favorite American and mineral sunscreens. Today we're talking about my international favorite sunscreens of the year. I'm gonna be real honest with you. I feel like this year was low-key a very slow year. Probably for me personally in terms of discovering new sunscreens, but also in terms of launches, especially because this category is going to have Korean sunscreens. Obviously, last year I think was all the brands kind of recovering from Purito Gate the year prior to last year. And so I feel like a lot of brands really were just dropping sunscreens left, right, and center, especially because most of them are coming out with the Colmar formula. And so this year I feel like a lot of brands slowed down, put that on pause, but also we're a little bit more intentional with their sunscreen launches. So I do not have a lot of sunscreens to talk about, but I do have a good handful. I'm basically doing half Korean, half European, just because in terms of Japanese sunscreens, I wasn't very impressed. Really, for me, I think Biore was like the main sunscreen drop of this year, and I'm gonna be real, I did not love their formulas this year. So we're talking about EU sunscreens and we're talking about Korean sunscreens. Obviously, I'm gonna have timestamps so you can fast forward to whatever part of the video you wanna watch. Starting with EU formulas, I think my favorite European sunscreen of the year goes to NIVEA, however you wanna say it. This is their Luminous 630 Anti-Pigmentation Sun Fluid SPF 50. This I bought because if you're in Europe, they have a whole line for this Luminous 630. The whole tea behind this line is that it features an ingredient called thiamidol, which I believe is a Beiersdorf patented ingredient. It's along INKEY, I'll have it here on screen, but thiamidol is an anti-pigmentation based phenol basically. So it's a tyrosinase inhibitor. So if you're targeting pigmentation, this line is really, really good apparently. I've only used a sunscreen, but let me tell you, this sunscreen is good. Also, this is called a sun fluid. There is nothing fluid about this texture. It's low-key a light cream when it comes out, but it shears out so beautifully. There's a little bit of color to it, and truth be told, I think there's a pigment in there, like a colorant in there, but it's not a tint. It's not like a tinted product, so it just has like a light peachy color to it. And this spreads on the skin so beautifully. When it sets down, your skin just looks it looks moisturized, but it's not greasy, it's not oily. It looks very refined. And actually, if I'm being very honest with you, I'll take a pump or two of this and just spread it over my face on like when I'm getting ready at night, just because it's in itself a beautiful, beautiful makeup primer. Like especially, I always talk about I'm really oily, but my under eyes are very, very dry. So I really have to balance how I approach prepping my skin for that. This just goes over everything beautifully and just makes it just gives me the best canvas for makeup. So I'm just obsessed with this texture. Overall, in terms of everything else with this formula, it's very simple. It's not water and sweat resistant. This does have fragrance and alcohol. You would not be able to tell it has alcohol. It's in a nicely moisturizing formula. Filters, it has homosalate, avobenzone, octosalate, evenol T150, tinosorb S, and insolazole for SPF 50+. I bought this in Germany, so I don't have a boot star rating. This is broad spectrum though, so just note that. And then aside from thiamidol, it has vitamin E, and this is an oil-free formula. So if you have oily skin, it is going to be preferable texture, a preferable formulation for you. But it is a moisturizing texture, which is what I really appreciate. And so it treads the line between being a really lightweight gel cream and being like a good cream texture for oily skin. I really do not know how to explain this texture, but it's really, really nice. It goes on gorgeous. It sets down and gives you a nice, like natural glowy finish. And yeah, this top 5 sunscreen of the year. Another European favorite, I bought this in Germany just because I was walking past a drugstore there and I saw in their like little sunscreen gondola section, there was one sign that said new, and I was like, oh, what's new? I'm always checking the new drops. And it's from Eucerin, which if you don't know, my like holy grail sunscreen period is the Eucerin European formula oil control. Like matte, gorgeous finish, also now water and sweat resistant. So this is their Hydra Protect SPF 50+. This is a really good formula. This is everything I wish the Neutrogena Hydra Boost sunscreens were. A nice light gel texture, sinks into the skin gorgeously, very hydrating, a nice moisturizing texture that's not greasy. This is oil-free. Avobenzone, tinosorb S, evenol T150, evenol A+, and insolazole in this. So broad spectrum SPF 50+ protection. Again, I bought this in Germany, so I don't got a boot star rating. It does have very good UVA rating. Those who follow me who love to go above and beyond all the time, you'll probably put all the boot star ratings down below, or the UVA PF ratings. Thank you for that. Glycerin, hyaluronic acid, sodium PCA, sodium lactate, those are all humectants and or natural moisturizing factors. So things that really aid in hydrating the skin, supporting skin hydration and moisturization. And then this also features the Beiersdorf trademark lycochalcone A and glycerinic acid for extra antioxidant protection. And this is just a really beautiful formula. I think this is really nice. Where I really used this the most was early to mid spring of last year when I was really in the midst of like my Tourette's transition and my skin was parched. This is really nice to really hydrate the skin, really quench how dry my skin was, but not be like overtly emollient, overtly oily, and also really good for prepping skin for makeup. I'm gonna put this here in the European section just because this is a European brand based in the UK. The INKEY Polyglutamic Acid SPF 30. This is just a really good moisturizing texture to me. Feels like it's nourishing, but I don't find, again, it's not heavy. For me, it's this, I talked about this in my moisturizer video. I love a gel cream, and I love a cream. Lotions, I feel like they rely a lot on emollients, especially around oils or just like emollient silicones or all that, which to me, that's where things get very like greasy, like where the residue stays on your hands. Whereas creams rely on a lot of fatty alcohols and butters and waxes for the structure, but also for their occlusion and the texture and all that. So that's why I feel like this really shines. Looking at the formula, this is alcohol and fragrance free. This uses octocrylene, octosalate, avobenzone, as well as ensolazole for that SPF 30. To me, this is a really good everyday sunscreen. This is not water or sweat resistant. Neither of the last three I've mentioned are water or sweat resistant. But being an alcohol fragrance free formulation, it is a chemical sunscreen. But overall, I think this is a really good option for, again, sensitive skin as well. Super affordable option that you can get pretty much internationally. I think INKEY is like sold everywhere. Aside from that, it features purple rice, purple yam, like purple sweet potato, and purple tea. And that's like a good antioxidant little blend there for a little boost in skin protection. And then glycerin and squalane. So just really focusing on moisturizing, protecting. A very simple sunscreen. I find this, I personally did like this sunscreen. I feel like there was a little bit of a on social media about it because people didn't like the texture, the way it spread. And I think there was a batch issue here or there. I like this sunscreen. And again, the time that I was using it was a time that I was mid-tret. So I just needed extra nourishment on my skin. Something I could just slap on. I know it would melt in and it would prep my skin well for makeup or whatever I needed to without being grease, mess, oil. That's why this is on this list. And then honorable mention, I'm going to talk about the fact that I did not love these sunscreens. This is from Roche-Posay. This is their UVMune 400, the oil controlling matte formulations. If you don't know, if you haven't been on my channel for forever, my like holy grail European sunscreens, Abbey Technologies, specifically their Daily Defense, the regular UVMune 400, and then the Eucerin oil control that I mentioned earlier. They're all really great protection, heavy duty sunscreens, and especially the Eucerin one, matte. These ones, they are not matte. And honestly, the difference between this one and the regular UVMune 400, minimal. They are pretty much the same sunscreen. There's nothing oil controlling or mattifying about either of these. And also sometimes I'd have to be really careful about how I applied these because I couldn't just slap these on and like be confident I'd be good, because sometimes, especially for the cream, I get it in my facial hair. If I like the UVMune regular 400 and these are pretty much the same texture to me, like I can't say I don't like this one, it just wasn't matte, but they're not matte. Okay, now on to Korean sunscreens, and I have to talk about my #1 favorite. This was the best Korean sunscreen launch of the year, hands down. I will not argue with you. My matte sun stick with Beauty of JOSEON. This is my baby, real talk. This is a great formula. The whole intent behind this, and I mean, I developed this along with the brand. It was a mutual, let's do this product, and then it was a lot of, okay, well, what do you want, Ramon? And then it was me deciding on the final formula, final texture, final ingredients, all that stuff. And I had my no list, I had my goal list. This is not a perfect formula. Few sunscreens are a perfect formula because realistically it's, well, it has this finish and texture and this sensorial experience, but if you don't have an oily skin, or you have sensitive skin, or you can't use this, or you prefer this, that's not going to be great for you, right? So I went into it knowing that. I got great feedback. I got a lot of support. I got a lot of criticism, and I got a lot of critical feedback, which is great. You know, I can't make a perfect product for everyone. And even when I was developing this, I was like, I want as many mattifiers in this as possible without it having a very severe white cast. But with powder mattifiers, you have a risk of that and all that stuff. I really appreciate all the feedback from everyone. This is my favorite sunscreen because I made it, and I am biased, but I can't be because I made this. And this is just, in my opinion, a really cool product because I made it after having done this for so many years, after having done this for all the years I have, and just listening to what it is followers and subscribers wanted, what they were missing, what they wished they could see in a sunscreen. And more so, I wanted to make a sunscreen that made people enjoy using sunscreen, that gave them a sunscreen option where they were like, oh, that works for me, or oh, that is so effortless, so easy, and it definitely, like, I don't have to like second guess it. This is definitely a better option for reapplication. Like, I wanted to create something that would make reapplying sunscreen super easy, super mess-free, very easy. And that's what this is. This is a great reapplication sunscreen. So that's why it's my #1. Also, I will say I did not intend for this to be for use over makeup. That was not a goal. I've never had a stick sunscreen work over makeup. And so seeing people use this over makeup and be like, I love it, gagged. At the end of the day, this combines a lot of things I love in a product. some oil controlling, some mattifying benefits. You have a lot of my favorite ingredients, centella, you got panthenol, you got turmeric up in here. My big things with this were I don't want niacinamide, I don't want titanium dioxide, I don't want tinosorb M, and so with that it has Eucerin A+, it has tinosorb S, it has Eucerin T150, and it has polysilicone 15, and this is alcohol and fragrance free. And I wanted it to be, again, as many people could use this as possible outside of considering things like skin sensitivity and all those things. It is a chemical sunscreen. It might leave a white cast on deep skin, but it's my little baby, so I'm a fight for her. Another contender for like one of the best Korean sunscreen formulas I've tried this year, aside from my Sunstick, it's from House of Her. I had never really heard of this brand until I found out that Good Eye, the brand behind Beauty of JOSEON, they are also investors into this brand. And so the brand reached out and they're like, we'd love to send you our product. And I was like, yeah, sure. Then I got this and I was like, Weightless Sun Fluid, okay. If you have always wanted to try the Tokobo sunscreen, the like liquid one, but the scent was too much for you, this, I mean, honestly, in my opinion, I think it's a thinner formula. This is fragrance and alcohol free. It is milk. This is a sunscreen milk. This is weightless, melts right into the skin. This is a gorgeous formula and texture if you have oily, acne prone skin and or you live in a very hot, muggy climate. Weightless. It's in the name. Weightless Sun Fluid. Literally all those keywords. Formula call outs: alcohol, fragrance, essential oil free, great for sensitive skin. It uses Eucerin T150, Mixoral SX, Eucerin A+, polysilicone 15, and tinosorb S as UV filters for that SPF 50 plus PA4 plus protection, not water or sweat resistant. And main formula callouts, it's a very simple formulation. The main things to really talk about is that the first ingredient is Jeju Yuza extract, antioxidants basically, and then honey. So it's just a hydrating, thin, milky texture. Finish is very natural. It's not greasy. It's not oily. Gorgeous texture, gorgeous finish. If you're looking for a sunscreen that feels like absolutely nothing, it's weightless, it's liquid, it just melts into the skin, this is the one for you. No white cast on deep skin. Gorgeous. Another really great sunscreen launch this year from Korea is Purito. Their Soft Touch SPF 50 plus PA4 plus. Don't have it. I think I emptied it. I think they wanted, or their main push behind that was it's the oily skin friendly version to the other one, which was like really glowy but also very lightweight. But the tea with the soft touches is not matte. It's more like a natural glow, like your moisturizer. You're not greasy. It is great for barrier care and barrier support. It has 5 different ceramides. It has cholesterol. It has fatty acids to really support the skin barrier. And on top of that, it also has bisabolol, vitamin E, panthenol, centella, so nice soothing ingredients. This is also really good when I was on Tret and had really compromised skin. Gorgeous texture, so that it looks natural. You're not hyper glowy, you're not super moisturized, but it has a lot of ingredients to support the skin barrier. So that combination is really, really nice to have, because I mean, I have oily skin at the end of the day. Even if my skin barrier is compromised and irritated, I'm still gonna get greasy. So I gotta really control. There was times last year with certain sunscreens where I'd go to work and my coworkers would be like, you're radiant. And that was a way of being like, that's a lot. You got a lot of glow going on right now. So yeah, I have to be careful. But the Soft Touch I think is a really good barrier care support formula if you have oily skin, because it's not too much in terms of like, it's not too heavy. It doesn't have a lot of like texture on the skin, but it has good skincare ingredients to just support skin barrier function. And for UV filters, it has Eucerin A+, Eucerin T150, tinosorb S, and then tinosorb M. That's the one thing. It does have tinosorb M in it. The interesting thing is I've seen people who have had issues with other tinosorb M sunscreens not have white cast issues with this one. So tread lightly. So these next two are interesting because the sunscreens themselves are technically made in Korea, and the brands behind them are Korean or like very Korean influenced, but they're American sunscreens. And starting with the first one, it's from a Krave. It's their reformulated Beet the Sun. I know technically Krave's an American brand. Leah is Korean. I feel like everything she makes really has that spirit and heart of Korean skincare. So it's a Korean brand, that's why it's here. This is an SPF 40 PA3 plus daily sunscreen. The main thing behind it, it's in the name, Beet extract, which is very antioxidant rich. And the tea is it's American sunscreen. The UV filters are American approved filters. You have homosalate, octosalate, avobenzone, octocrylene, and her approach was either formulate it as a Korean sunscreen and sell it as a Korean sunscreen in Korea and like ship here, or just make an American sunscreen. She chose that route. I think it's a great option if you have normal to dry skin, or actually really use this year again. When it was very cold still, I was in the midst of transitioning my skin into using Tret, and it was the first prescription I had. It was just Tret, clindamycin, and it was just very rough on my skin. My skin was with peeling. And it was a great formula because it was so nourishing. It was a lightweight texture, but it was more of that lotion texture. So it was had a nice emollients to it. It had a good glow to it. It was very nourishing on the skin. And I had no irritation issues, although I will say if you have issues with sunscreen stinging your eyes, this is one to definitely be careful around the eye area. But for a daily wear sunscreen, I think it was a really, really good formula for what I needed at the time. And I emptied one and I think I was halfway through a second one. I can't find where it is right now though. But yeah, a good nourishing formula, I think better for more drier skin types. But aside from that, it's alcohol and fragrance and essential oil free. It has the beetroot extract again and vitamin E for the antioxidants. It has bisabolol to really help soothe the skin. It also has a botanical SPF booster complex or SPF enhancing complex. That's the same one that's used in the Bioma sunscreen, which I thought was really interesting. But yeah, great formula for more dry skin types. That was something I didn't have in the other sunscreen video, was more dry skin friendly formulas. This is definitely one. And the second sunscreen is the Isntree Onion Newpair sunscreen. This is the one that Isntree did in collaboration with Cassandra Bankson. This one is an American formulated sunscreen, which I was very surprised to see when I looked at the formula. It's homosalate, octinoxate, octisalate, octocrylene. Then it has titanium dioxide, but it's not clear as to whether it's UV filter grade titanium dioxide or pigmentary functional filler grade titanium dioxide. Those are different. The reason it could go either way is because it has certain elements, and I mean, first of all, it has that purple color, but that's due to ultramarine, which is like a blue pigment. It has certain components that could lend themselves to functional fillers, which I've talked about a little bit in my videos. Functional fillers are ingredients, they're technically powders. They're not pigments. They are based on certain, mostly like metal or mineral substrates, and they have coatings on them, and they serve certain functions in your formulas, usually in color cosmetics or makeup, but they can be used in skincare and especially sunscreen formulations to diffuse light and create a soft focus effect, and that helps to boost SPF. They can help to blur the look of pores, increase coverage, improve the spreadability. They serve a lot of functions, so that's why I don't know what the titanium dioxide is doing in here. Aside from that, you have the onion extract, which serves a few different functions. It can help soothe the skin, also might have some benefits if you're acne prone. You have Hotunia cordata, niacinamide, vitamin E, adenosine, allantoin, and panthenol, and this is an alcohol and fragrance and essential oil free formula. So it's good at soothing the skin, great for more sensitive skin types, with the exception of if you're sensitive to chemical filters. This one, again, I don't have issues around my eyes, but due to the filters, if you have eye burning issues, be wary with that application. But yeah, really just a formula to help soothe and nourish the skin. That one I use more as the season was transitioning from fall into winter, so a more moisturizing formula. Again, it's SPF 40 PA 3+, so it's a daily wear sunscreen. It's not heavy duty, it's not sweat resistant. None of these Korean sunscreens are, but again, if you have more normal skin, combination skin, maybe more dry skin, this could be a good formula. It is more of a natural glowy finish. I have a friend, actually, her name is Eucerin, and she lives in Egypt. She's a great content creator if your niche is Arabic based skincare content. She loves this, and in my mind I'm like, Egypt is the desert, it's dry, so this might be, again, a good formula for more dry weather. But with that, those are my favorite international sunscreens of the year. Again, I'm kind of lacking on Japanese and other sunscreens. I did, if you didn't watch my Yes Style haul from like months ago, I have a couple sunscreens from Taiwan, which I still have to review, and I do have a few Japanese sunscreens I haven't touched yet, which I will get to in the new year. I'm trying to catch up on all my sunscreens. I have so many sunscreens from NIVEA, Eucerin, all these other European brands, some Japanese sunscreens. I have some really interesting sweat resistant formulas from Japan that I have to try out still. But let me know down below in the comments section, what were some of your favorite Korean, Japanese, European, any Australian sunscreens that you were really digging in 2023? I want to hear it down below in the comments section so that I can discover them as well. So with that being said, make sure you subscribe and hit the notification bell so that you know when I go live with more skincare, sunscreen, and beauty related content. I still do have, I think, one more video for the best of 2023 series, so hit the notification bell to know when that one goes live. Also, don't forget to hit that thumbs up, and thanks for watching, guys. Bye.